Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another video. And today I would like to once again share my thoughts on The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie now that I've completed the post-game, defeated the true final boss, watched the remaining daydreams, and saw the journey through to the end. There's quite a bit more to discuss, and so here I am. But I want to start by saying this is your spoiler warning because, this is the post-game of Reverie. We're going to talk about all sorts of plot details. And I also want to turn this video into my retrospective on the entire Trails series because I finished the post-game, the true final boss. I saw that final image yesterday, and I don't want to say I was depressed, but I had this empty feeling inside of me that it's finally over. And where do I go from here? So what I decided to do was go through all my screenshots because, well, if you see my previous videos and you see my Twitter feed, you know I like to take a lot of screenshots, post them, and talk about them. And I went through them all, from Sky first chapter, second chapter, the third, the Crossbell duology, all the Cold Steel games, even Reverie. I went through them and was listening to the relevant OST as I did. And my very first screenshot from Trails in the Sky first chapter is dated with April 15th, 2023. I am recording this video on April 8th, 2024. It's going to go up on Friday, which is the 12th. Just think about that for a second. Almost an entire calendar year being immersed in the world of Zumeria. And just imagine what I'm going through right now. After essentially binging every game. There was some breaks in between. Because what I did was I played the Sky Trilogy. Took a break. Played the Crossbell Duology. Took a bit of a break because I did play Nayuta. Which technically isn't a Trails game. But, kind of is. Played Nayuta. Then I played the entire Cold Steel arc 1 through 4. Plus Reverie. 5 games in a row. And here I am. And I remember a couple people telling me, oh, you're going to get burnt out if you do that, Kevin. And, I wouldn't have it any other way. In fact, I may have said this in passing before about once I reach the end, once I'm at this point completing the post-game of Reverie, I'm going to go back and play the entire series. And everyone thinks I'm joking, but I really thought about it. And the only reason I'm holding off on it is because Daybreak is releasing in July in 3 months. There's no way I can replay all 10 games in 3 months, even with high speed mode. So I really do think I might replay the entire series after I finish Daybreak, depending on what happens with Daybreak, because I know with Trails games, especially with the first entry in the arc, there's always some sort of cliffhanger. Just look at first chapter, Cold Steel 1, Cold Steel 3. It didn't really happen with Zero. Zero kind of ended on it did end on a happy note. It wasn't it was a happy note with some more unresolved mysteries to lead into Azure, but that was a happy ending. So, yeah, I don't know. And I know people will comment, oh, you can just play the fan translations, or I do think there actually is the localized version of Daybreak, but it has the Japanese voice acting. And while I do like the Japanese voice acting, I've grown so accustomed to the English dub that I think I can wait 3 months, and I will, for Daybreak. So, but we'll see. After I finish Daybreak, maybe I'll have to play the fan translation of Kuro no Kiseki 2, Daybreak 2. So, that's just my personal retrospective. It was an emotional roller coaster at the end there. One thing I really loved about the ending is like the implementation of music from the other games. Like there's a particular daydream that plays a lot of the music from Cold Steel 1 and 2 along with 3, 4, and Reverie. At the very end of Reverie, they were actually playing The Truth of the Rainy Day. And you can hear the heartbeat in the background. I was going crazy, man. Which that song is kind of interesting because what a beautiful song that is. Although maybe it is best served just for the whole Guy and Arios thing in Azure. But when I heard that, I'm like, dude, The Truth of the Rainy Day, which also plays when Wazi confronted Wald in Azure when it was raining. Which I listened to that too. Someone uploaded like a 10-minute clip outside the SSS building in Azure with the rain in the background. And it's so keto. Anyway, where to even start here? I guess we'll start with what happens. Well, basically what I want to go through here is the daydream with the Grandmaster, what happens in the post-game, brief synopsis of the other daydreams, the true final boss, and the 3 additional daydreams beyond the Reverie, another Hot Springs Paradise, an unconventional student, and forward sword in hand. Which I'm going to do another video after this, just going through every daydream, but for now, we're just going to cover them. So, after you beat the main story in Trails into Reverie, you go back into the Reverie corridor, and you can continue exploring the Stratums, unlocking new characters, minigames, daydreams, etc. And really making your characters overpowered for New Game Plus, because, well, the characters in this game start at level 100, and I thought the max was level 200, which I got Lloyd to level 200, but everyone else is between 185 and 195. But the max in this game is level 250. So, and the different thing about this game is there's a mode above Nightmare. Every Trails game has Nightmare as the highest difficulty, and then in this, it's Abyss. So, maybe I'll have to play the game through Abyss next time. But I played through the game on hard mode, and once I replay everything, I'm New Game Plus in it, going through Nightmare mode. Abso-freaking-lutely. Anyway. So yeah, basically you can max out your characters and carry over all the items. So you can get like the Dire Gladiator belts and the enhanced Grail lockets. Like, dude, in the final Stratum, you can just find Grail lockets in the chest. Wasn't it only 1 Grail locket per game in the previous games? By the end, I had like 12 Grail lockets, and you could buy them too, or trade them at the exchange shop, which is crazy. Oh, Reverie, such a great game, man. But anyway, so you can continue exploring the second half of the 4th Stratum, the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 0th Stratum, which I think at the end of the 4th Stratum, that's when you see the true final boss, Originator Zero, which looks like Kia, but then turns out to be Demigorus, which is, it's so cool. Someone left a comment in my initial Trails into Reverie review saying how, like, Ishmael Gareen is the perfect final boss for the Cold Steel arc, and then you have Demigorus as the perfect true final boss for the Crossbell Gang. Incredible. And they had the Azure Arbitrator boss theme playing. And I will say, as much as a pain in the ass that boss was in Azure, it's so much easier in this game. I wonder if that's like symbolism too, showing how far our characters have come. I like to think that as well. So, you know, you unlock the characters with the gold sealing stones. In my initial playthrough, the characters who I unlocked, if I remember correctly, were Angelica, Toval, Aurelia, Victor, and I don't remember if I got Princess Alphen in the beginning or in the post game, but Princess Alphen might have been there. And then the second half, I got George, Olivier, and Shara, which it's a shame Shara was never a playable character, but she was a tag-along, so you could use her Brave Order similar to Kia. And yeah, Olivier, his victory speech, he goes, "Nighty-night, kitty cats. Enjoy the show." It's so good, man. Just like in the Sky games. And then Granny Rose, of course. Vita. And then McBurn. Which it was so cool to see McBurn in the party. And I love how in the Reverie corridor, everyone has their little table or their group they're hanging with. Like, for instance, you have Class 6, as I like to call them, with Crow, Toa, George, and Angelica all sitting together. New Class 7s together. The Bracers are all hanging out together. And then you have McBurn just sitting at a table all by himself with a bottle of whiskey or something. And then the battles, like when it's his turn, he'll go, "Guess it's me." But then, once you get him going, like if you do the all-out attack, the all-for-one, the United Front, that's what it's called. All for one, one for all. He goes, "Get over here so we can rough them up." And it's so good, man. And I love the team-up attacks, especially with the Ouroboros members. Like when you team up with Duvali and do the finishing blow, he starts yawning. He's like, "Oh, you know, I'll let you handle the cleanup." And Duvali does her signature face. She's like, "Ah! I can't take it anymore. Will someone else babysit this buffoon?" And she starts like shaking her fist. It's so good. I love Duvali. I don't know if I mentioned that enough in the previous videos, but Reverie is honestly a top 5 character in the entire series for me. And what I love so much about her is how she stands by her principles, and she's very loyal to her lord, to Lord Aryenrode, Leanne Sandlot, but realizes that she was on the wrong side and realizes her mistakes and tries to atone for her sins, which is another reason why it's so cool that she's part of the miserable sinners with Rufus and company. And I love Reverie. I love her change of heart, and then like her confrontation with Aryenrode in Cold Steel 4, and how she's a tsundere, the cute scene when you go for ice cream with Reen. Like, Reverie is such a great character. I love her so much. And when you think about it, she's been around quite a long time. In Azure, Cold Steel 2, Cold Steel 3, Cold Steel 4, Reverie. I mean, Reverie is great, man. Top 5 character for me. Abso-freaking-lutely. But back to McBurn and his team-up attacks. Like with Ren, he says, you know, we both mellowed out. The one with Joshua is great because he says, oh, Luve would be proud of you, Joshua. It's so fucking good. And there are people who don't know who Luve is because they haven't played the Sky games, which is just insane to me. But yeah, so McBurn, you got that cool shit. And speaking of cool shit, I just remember that too. If he finds like a good treasure chest, he'll go, I can get used to shit like this. He's so awesome, man. McFire, bro. You gotta love McBurn. So, in doing so, you also unlock some more daydreams, of which, more about the Grandmaster. The one with the Brights on their vacation in Ymir, which when I was playing through that and I heard the Ymir music in the background, I was like, dude, I gotta replay Cold Steel 2 now! I gotta replay Cold Steel 2! And then Gilbert, who never gives up. Gilbert's another great character. I love him. One Step Forward, which is like the romantic aspect of Instructor Mary and Makarov, and then Wallace and Aurelia. Thor's Open House, which makes me love Ash even more, and they heavily hint that he's going to become a bracer. He reminds me a lot of Agate, and I can see him becoming a bracer. Absolutely. And Kaino Kiseki, Ash Feather Shot with Toval. That'd be so badass. And then, of course, Through Memories Aglow. Probably the best daydream in the entire game. Learning more about Osborne and how Osborne, I just said Reverie's top 5 character. Osborne is top 3 character in this entire series. What an excellent character. Honestly, a misunderstood character, if I might say. So, you get all that. But anyway, let's start with the Grandmaster, because what even is this video? I guess it's kind of like a podcast. So, with the Grandmaster, you get to see like a 10-minute thing of her. Actually, it's McBurn. He shows up, and he breaks through. And one thing I forgot to mention in my review of Cold Steel 4 is that when the Grandmaster shows up, they play the same song that plays in Sky the Third when the Grandmaster just shows up, which I think is called like Through the Heart or something like that. Oh, I should have had it up so I could quote it properly, but you know what it is. The song from Sky the Third, when they're all gathered around, when you see all 7 Anguis there, and Campanella. And they're all talking about it, and that is the Phantasmal Blaze Plan, the Orpheus Final Plan, which we've seen the Gospel Plan, we've seen the Phantasmal Blaze Plan, now we have the Eternal Recurrence Plan. 3 years yet remain until primordial nothingness, which now, that was in 1206, this was 1207, Calvert's taking place in 1208. So, dude, Kaino Kiseki is going to be when everything goes down. I just know it. So, McBurn shows up, and he's, you know, I got through. I got all that Ungbar out here. And then you see the Grandmaster. And I found this very interesting, because at the end of Cold Steel 4, McBurn got half of his memories back. Right? And then he says, oh, Campanella, he tricked me good. And what a fitting name for Ouroboros. They are a bunch of snakes. And when he shows up here, confronts the Grandmaster, he's like, you know, now that I got half my memories back, I think I got a good idea of who you are now. And then she says something along the lines of, if you did figure out who I was, then you wouldn't be able to maintain your form. Like, what the fuck does that mean, man? which I've seen theories, and there's the whole connection with her and Kreia from Naruto, which she looks very similar to Kreia. She really does. But I don't know, man. There might be a connection to Adios here. The fact that they're so hell-bent on the Septarions, and at the end of Cold Steel 4, how the two Septarions, Arc Rouge and Lost Zem, are no longer can be, you know, the humans can no longer, they can no longer be found in human hands or something like that. She has the Aureole. Campanella brought that back in Sky the Third. Demigoras is gone. So, the only remaining Septarions is Time, Water, and Wind. The Time one is going to be really crazy, too, when they do, it's going to be time travel stuff, I just know it. It has to be. So, she sort of talks some sense into him, how, number one, that's Campanella, who's basically the right-hand man of the Grandmaster. Nor any anguish but you, and only you can act as our guiding bonfire. Holy shit, just that line, the delivery is so good. And can I say, the Grandmaster is hot. Can I say that? She is. Absolutely. Oh, so anyway, Novartis shows up. And he's scheming. And they're talking about the Oathbreaker, which I'm pretty sure the Oathbreaker is the fourth Anguish, which McBurn asked the Grandmaster if she found anyone to replace Steel, the seventh Anguish, you know, Aryan Road. And the Grandmaster said, well, you'll know when the time is right. So I think the Grandmaster has a 7th Anguish now, a replacement for Aryan Road, but can't reveal it to McBurn just yet. And thinking for a minute, we've seen pretty much every Anguish in some form or another. The first Anguish, well, we saw him at the end of Cold Steel 4, well, the voice, which is the same voice as Nielsen, which is my theory. Nielsen is the first Anguish. The second Anguish is Vita. The third... Oh, that was Weissman, and then now it's Maria Bell. Okay. That's the third Anguish. The fourth, I think, is the Oathbreaker, who was the one connected to Sharon. I don't think we met the fifth Anguish yet. Novartis is the sixth Anguish, and then Aryan Road is the seventh Anguish. And they're talking about Orid. Oh, man. Which is near Calvard. And then as all that happens, there was a symbol that flashed on the screen. And then this guy shows up, Roy Gramhard, who is the new president of Calvard. And he says something to the Grandmaster that he needs 3, and then he pauses. No, 2.5 years to oversee whatever. And the Grandmaster's like, oh, okay. And I will not interfere in your next undertaking so long as you do not interfere in mine. Do we have a deal? He strikes a deal with the Grandmaster, and she acknowledges how, you know, your negotiation tactics are similar to that of the late Chancellor, leading me to believe that Gileath Osborne spoke to her as well. Very, very interesting. So that lines up very well with the Eternal Recurrence plan and the 3 years and all that. So it's just really spooky Daydream, might I say. And I loved it, man. So many mysteries, which will be resolved. And it's just so cool. I know some people will probably say, oh, this is, you know, so vague and this and that. No, man, this is awesome. And the fact how it does tie back to Sky the Third again and again is just incredible. And I have seen screenshots of Kai no Kiseki. I actually saw the screenshots when they first came out some months ago. But I went and looked at them again. And they have the screenshot of the Grandmaster. Which, where is she? Of the Grandmaster, like, out in the open, right? And then there's another one, which I didn't really pay any mind when I first saw it, but looking at it again, it's our boy Rufus. Rufus and Swin. It's like, dude, Rufus is gonna be there, which I love that when you talk to Rufus again in the Reverie corridor, he says something how he's just a humble but nameless vagabond. So our boy Rufus is going on his new adventure with the Imperial Picnicking Front. And I can't wait to find out what happens. Anyway, here's Originator Zero. This is the very end. But you see she looks just like Kia, which goes back to the Croyce family and the Alchemists and Demigoras. And then Demigoras shows up as the final boss, Genisol Demigoras. And you fight that, and that's really it. And then at the very, very end, you get some more daydreams. Like, I think I mentioned them before. Another Hot Springs Paradise, an unconventional student, and forward sword in hand. So the first one involves Reen and his family on a trip going to Calvard. And Reen is looking for Master Ka-Fi. And we see him. I love dear sister Elise has a new hairdo there. She looks pretty cute. But they're out here, and then Reen goes by himself looking for Master Ka-Fi, and he runs into this dude right here, who is also a practitioner of the 8 Leaves, 1 Blade. They called it something different. I gotta find the name properly. And they say he's a practitioner of the Hazy Moon School, a member of the Ikaruga. And he ends up using, like, dual sabers, similar to what Crow used. Like, he has these shurikens, but then they can detach and they become dual sabers. Pretty badass. And at the very end, Reen gets his blade broken by this woman right here, who Kurogane calls the princess. And god damn, she is hot. I can't wait to see more of her, the sexy samurai chick. Which, I'm pretty sure she was in the trailer for Trails Through Daybreak. And obviously this is the setup for Trails Through Daybreak to get you all hyped for that. So, it's interesting that they show her as like an adversary to Reen, but also knowing 8 Leaves, 1 Blade. And what's the deal with her? Is she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? Like, what's going on? Is she like similar to Risha in when she was acting as Yin? We shall see. But I am sold. I am hyped. And then we got the unconventional student, which is showing Ren, who has gone to Calvard. So yeah, we're going to see Ren in Trails Through Daybreak as well. And I love the progression of Ren. Like, as far as all the characters go, I guess her and Tita are the ones we've seen grow the most. From little girls to almost full-grown adults now. I know Ren's like, what, 16 or 17 now, still in high school, but we saw her as like a little kid, you know, a little girl with the doll who summons the giant robot Potomater, and here she is now. And I just think that's so cool. Like, I mean, I guess we see that progression with Estelle, too, because she's a little girl in the beginning, and then we see her as a young woman at the end of Reverie, and really in Cold Steel 4 as well. But I can't really think of any other examples like that. It's just cool to see that, and I'm looking forward to seeing Ren in Trails Through Daybreak as well. It shows her having a conversation with Tita, and then they have like the Western Sumerian Technology Organization, which is like the combination of the Rhineford Group, ZCF, and Epstein, and you see a picture of Professor Albert Russell, Professor Schmidt, Erica Russell, and Tio. So I thought that was really cool. I'm surprised, why didn't they show Elisa or Arena? I don't know why, but, you know, it was cool to see nonetheless. And then the final one, which was called Forward Sword in Hand, we see this woman, Elaine, who becomes I think tied with Sarah as the youngest A-rank bracer, and she has a conversation with Zin. So we're probably gonna see Zin again in Trails Through Daybreak. Well, we are. I saw a screenshot of Zin, so I'm assuming he's gonna be a playable character as well. And Elaine, I have seen her as well. Because Vaughn is the main character of Trails Through Daybreak, but I think Elaine might be like the the main love interest or whatever, or the badass bracer. I don't know, but it's cool to see it. And these things gave me all the hype I needed to be ready for Trails Through Daybreak. So, what a beautiful, beautiful ending. And then once you defeat Demigoras at the very end, these 3 daydreams I just showed you here are after the end. But after you beat Demigoras, you get this beautiful shot, which says, "Thank you for playing Trails into Reverie until the very end. See you in 1208. And I love this image like you can't imagine. All these characters here, just the way they're set up, it's beautiful. This is such a beautiful piece of art. Where in the background we have Ishmael Garin, We have the special support section all next to each other. Lloyd and Ellie, Randy, Tio, Wazzy, Noel, Risha. Then we have Reen in the middle, Crow, Elisa, Eustace back to back with Rufus, Lapis, Altina and Nilium hugging each other, Ren, Estelle and Joshua back to back, Olivier, and then Swin and Nadia reaching out for each other. What a beautiful image, man. I was crying. I was crying at the end here with all the music playing and how all the characters said thank you. Like, thank you for everything. They were saying that to Originator Zero before she disappeared. Incredible. And that's why, like, after finishing this, I had to sit there and just go through all my other screenshots because there's nothing else like this game. Nothing else like the Trail series. And that's why I said at the start of this video, like, people think I'm joking when I say I'm going to replay the entire series, but I'm not. It's just, I'm not going to replay the entire series right now, but I will. I really do think I'm going to replay the series after I finish Daybreak. And fantastic. Fantastic. I don't even know how to end this video. It's just so good. I will end the video by saying I am going to record a video going through the daydreams because while I went through some of them at the end, I'm going to boot up the game once more and just show you them, go through the titles and say a little bit about them. And there's some other hotshot images. After I beat the game and I did my review, we went through all the images. If you want to go back to that video, there's even more that unlock in the post game, including young Aurelia, which you got to see that one. I'll show you that one. Schoolgirl Tio, Crow drinking water, and just so much other cool stuff. So look forward to that video. Yeah, again, I don't really know how to end the video, so I think I'll just end it. I'll say, nighty night, kitty cats. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Oh, I should also note, like I said, I'm going to do the Daydream video, and I'm also going to do I don't know if I'm going to do a tier list, but like a ranking of least favorite Trails games to most favorite Trails games. I know some people have been asking for that. I still have to think about it, because I don't even know which Trails game is my favorite. I really don't. They're all so good. There isn't a bad Trails game. There isn't a single bad Trails game. And so that's going to be a difficult list to do, but I am going to do it. And I know some people have asked me to do, like, a tier list for all the characters. The problem with that is every character would be either B, A, or S tier. There isn't a bad character in the series. No. Not Angelica is, if we're doing that, Angelica's A tier, okay? Take that, haters, before I end the video. So thanks so much, guys. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Peace out.
Nighty night, kitty cats. Nighty night.